Parents of Reddit, what was the worst thing your kid/s ever did that made you momentarily wish you didn't have kids?
A phase of having constant tantrums and explosive meltdowns over absolutely everything. Like hourly as long as she was awake. Only lasted a few months, but it was exhausting and depressing, and every now and again just made me wish I'd never bothered.
My 3-year-old got diarrhea at the park this weekend. We were a half-mile walk from home with no bathroom in sight. I wanted to disappear.
3 dozen half-eaten sandwiches hidden around her bedroom. If she'd told us she didn't like them, that would have been fine. But to hide them? Holy smokes.
One time, they decided it would be fun to play in the bathroom. It just so happened that I left my wallet in a pair of pants on the floor. They flushed about $400 down the toilet, expressionless face. Using his poop as a weapon to fling at kids in kindergarten. I wished if I used protection that day.
My then 2-year-old puked, which landed in my open mouth. I wished the Goblin King would come for him then.
Waking me up in the middle of the fucking night for 4 fucking years, and still going with no end in sight.
My daughter from the ages of about 3-months-old to 3 years old screamed bloody murder every time she was put down, and only slept about an hour or 2 at a time. We found out later she has fairly severe autism, which explains it, but the sleep deprivation and lack of personal space I couldn't even shower unless I wanted to listen to her scream like someone was murdering her, was hellish. She's grown out of it now and is an awesome kid, although she is now entering puberty and her emotions are starting to go a bit haywire. But I can sleep for 6 hours straight, which helps me deal with it much better. When my son giggled after headbutting me very hard in the temple. Wanted to leave that small child out for the jaw, was there for a bit. Oh, also every time he screeches like a velociraptor when he doesn't get his way.
Not a parent, the child here. My smart self decided that the socket which we had was not pleasing, so I decided to put another one in its place. At the time my family was basically stealing electricity from the factory right next to us, so the circuit was kinda connected, not sure about the specifics. As an expert, I did not cut off the electricity in our house before doing the surgery, and got myself blown into the door, and half of the factory got cut off from electricity. No need to say that my parents were shitting in their pants because of me, and at the moment I am pretty sure they regretted having me. I'm sure other things will happen as he gets older, however at 15 months, it's the constant biting and pulling my hair. Like at least once a day I'm like, why did I have a kid? I guess I'm thankful he doesn't bite other kids at daycare, and only bites me.
My oldest at the time was 2, she's 7 now. I call this event the shipacalypse. Decided to roll her poop into a ball and play with it. It was everywhere. Face, hands, carpet, on brother's, face. God, it was awful.
Worst thing, my 14-year-old attempted suicide October 2018. Yes, I wished I never would have had kids. BC she wouldn't have went through what she did. It wasn't BC of her, it was more BC of I didn't want her to go through any pain or suffering. She is okay now, in case anyone wonders. She's now thriving. Totally different kid now.
The other day my 5-year-old walks up to a group of Indian women and loudly goes, "What's with the dots on your foreheads?" Pause. No response. "What's with the dots on your foreheads?" I drag him away saying it's part of their religion blah blah blah, and he goes, "What's her religion?" Clearly nailing this whole parenting thing.
When my son was 4, We were in the checkout line at the grocery store. There was a very obese man 2 people ahead of us, and unfortunately my son spotted him. He points and says very loudly, "Mommy, look how fat that man is." My insides go cold. People around us are trying not to laugh. I say in a very firm voice, "That's not a nice thing to say." To which he replies, "But he's really fat." Then I tell him to just be quiet. It was the longest I've ever waited to check out.
Made my nipples bleed while breastfeeding. Oh, and shut down my kidney while I was pregnant.
Mom, 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 mama, 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 mommy, mommy, mommy. Not the worst thing, but sometimes you just wish you could be invisible. Or maybe just call their father's name for once.
The screaming. Oh my god. But then they do cute stuff and I take the for sale ad down.
My mom was watching and told her to go to her room. She took scissors and cut off 75% of her hair that was down to her waist and gave herself a Joe Dirt mullet. My son was in 4th grade when we got an email from his teacher that he stole some things from another kid. Low grade stuff, and he was working through some things, so it was sorted out with some discipline and coaching. My daughter is in 2nd grade and is quite the sass machine. Her mouth is going to get her in some shit one of these days. I've just come to realize that all kids are assholes, it's just a matter of when and for how long. You might not like them, just as long as you love them. I have a very adventurous 5-month-old. She loves movement and she's already trying to crawl. She rolled off the bed a few weeks ago when I took a nap with her. I didn't know what had happened until I heard her scream. She wasn't hurt, but the sound alone has struck a new sort of terror in me I didn't know existed.
I have twins. They were about 8 when this happened, I think, but they ripped open our next door neighbor's bagged leaves and jumped in them and basically just threw them everywhere and erased all the progress they'd made cleaning their yard up. I was about 8 months pregnant at the time, and we had a super kid-friendly neighborhood, so I didn't know it had happened at first since they used to run with the kid gang during the day. When I found out, I made them go over and apologize and made them help me bag up all of the leaves again. It was definitely one of the most embarrassing things ever. Oh, and one of them broke a teacher's nose in 1st grade too, so that was a fun school trip.
Waiting in a long line with my 6-year-old son. He starts to complain about his legs hurting. I explain we have to wait and he needs to suck it up and deal. He then loudly exclaims, "Why does he get a seat?" Pointing to a man in a wheelchair 2 places behind us. I wanted the biggest rock I could hide under.
Not a parent but the kid. At 2,5 years old I went to kindergarten for the very first time. Most kids cry. I didn't. I slapped the teacher in the face when she bent over to greet me. Pretty sure my mom regretted having a second kid. Around the same time, or a little later, I took the bus with my mom. At one point a nice African gentleman boarded. Now, it is important to know that at this point I had not seen a lot of people of color. Apparently, when I saw him, I pointed at him and screamed, "Lock mommy, a chocolate man." The man laughed his ass off while my mom wanted to die from embarrassment.
One morning I was trying to enjoy a cup of coffee. As I was taking a sip, my 4-year-old walked up and, with the tiniest balled up fist, punched me right in the coffee cup, which in turn whacked off of my front teeth. Nothing broke, thank goodness, but damn, I was absolutely stunned. I couldn't believe what had just happened. All I could do was sit there and stare at him in shock. I have two girls who are about 6 months apart in age, adopted. One morning I woke up to the worst horror. The younger one managed to climb into the older one's crib, and then they proceeded to strip each other naked and paint each other, and what they could of the crib and room, in each other's shit. Seeing them both standing there grinning gave the phrase shit-eating grin a whole new meaning. It was a shitty morning to say the least.
Thanks for watching, and don't forget to subscribe and turn on notifications for more videos like this one. Share your own stories in the comments below. And as always, stay safe and good luck.